Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everyone joining us tonight, I hope you're ready for the most anticipated match of the Trackmania Challenger League regular season. The defending champions, Alternate Attacks, take to the stage to face off against their nemesis, maybe, but they have yet to prove themselves worthy of that title. Sprout take the role of opposition for tonight in the last chance of preventing the perfect season from Alternate Attacks. I'm bringing the energy, I'm bringing the hype, and to bring the opposite, we have Twiggy, who's dying of allergies.
Yeah, I don't know if you think I can match that energy, but it's not happening. It's obviously it's like 30 degrees today, which is great because I'm locked in a room now with the curtain, the windows are closed, the door is closed, everything. I've got a fan next to me. That's about it. My allergies have just started up today. Everything is going wrong. I just found out that I will be 141 years old when I get the golden capper in Twitch, and yeah, no, everything's over. You're gonna carry the broadcast today.
Well, that's a lot of pressure, and I'm not sure I'm up to it, Twiggy. I'm hoping that the match is going to carry the broadcast because this is genuinely has the potential to be one of the best matches of this regular season. Alternate Attacks have been looking great. I would have said at the start of the season, not as strong as they looked in Stage 1, but they have upped their performance over the course of Stage 2, and they have re-established that gap to the rest of the competition. Sprout have maybe not looked as strong, but if we know one thing it's about Sprout, it's that they have the ability to pull a ridiculous performance from absolutely nowhere at any given moment.
Yeah, I feel like the word you're looking for is inconsistent. I'm not gonna lie.
It might be.
Maybe it's a bit of a negative way of thinking about it, but I think that is kind of Sprout's thing at this point. We've established it over the course of the 2 seasons that we've seen them play on. They can be the best team in the league. They can be other. But hey, look, at the very least, they cannot be the worst team in the league this time around. They have 3 wins, which is 3 more than Ascend. So that is ideal for them. But yeah, no, it should all be good. I mean, honestly, they're in a position where it should not really be possible to choke getting through into the playoffs at the very least. Technically it is, but it shouldn't be. Is all I will put it as long as they don't get 4-0'd by both Alternate Attacks and Easy Dream, everything should be fine. Let's put it that way. So this is just really a seeding match for Sprout, and again, it's a difficult opponent that they're coming up against. They're gonna have Easy Dream tomorrow, so that's not too big of a worry, but it would be nice to get a good amount of maps right now.
You do say that, Twiggy, but if Sprout lose here and Easy Dream can win against Sprout, then their fate is out of their hands, because it is Easy Dream who would be looking to snipe that playoff spot away from them. That's all in the future, though. For the moment, we are into pick bans, and we're very sorry. No beautiful overlay today, but you get to see it raw, you get to see it live, you get to see as we reset the pick bans.
Oh yes, that seems to happen every single time now. Somebody just goes, "Oh, whoops, yeah, no, let's do it again." Frosty and Breaking, the 2 banned. I think probably Sprout are very happy that Breaking got banned out because they seem to have a very difficult time on that one. Scrappy is either the best player of that identity or just crashes. Like, that is the dichotomy of Sprout on Breaking, but I guess that's kind of the dichotomy of Sprout on every map so far. We're starting things off with Speed. Vortex is Sprout's insta-pick, it seems like, from now on. Airwalk and Sinus are going to be the last 2 guaranteed maps.
And we will see then, where do we go after our guaranteed maps? This does feel like a match that probably should make it past the first 4, but of course there's no guarantees. We will head to Off-Road for map number 5. That's a fun map. Dexter still holding the Challenger League record on that one, and it hasn't really been all that challenged in a little while, sitting as it currently does all the way down at, I believe it's a 59-4. I'm going to say 59-4. Oh, Twiggy, it's all falling apart. You have to carry, I can't even find a single
I didn't get up the stats yet.
I was right.
Well prepared.
It's 59.422, and we've been seeing mostly times on Off-Road of about 59.7, but that's irrelevant because we are starting things off on Speed. Alternate Attacks' go-to map. They still are really the only team in the Challenger League picking this one with any real regularity, and it's been working for them.
Yeah, it really has, and I mean, not only has it been working for them. I mean, yesterday we saw a 12-0, and that may have been against BS Plus competition, who, you know, I don't know what happened to them yesterday. They got 4-0'd and then they got a 4-0. But either way, it just shows kind of that they are the only team that seems to do it, and it's a good map to do it on. It's not one of the maps that gets insta-banned by many teams. So it's kind of in this awkward space where do we ban out speed to try and stop alternate attacks from getting a free map, or do we try and get... I don't know. It's horrible either way, basically.
Yeah, it's rough either way. And against a team like Sprout, it does work out because Sprout just ban Frosty. No question about it. They're banning Frosty in every match that they get into. And this is the situation that alternate attacks were specifically kind of targeting, you have to feel, all the way back at the start of the season, because that's how early they made the decision that they were going to be playing speed, that it was a map that, even if it was unpopular with other teams, they would practice. And it's for matches like these, against their close rivals, against a team like Sprout, who, whatever else you want to say about them, not particularly flexible when it comes to game plan.
Yeah, I'm not sure what has happened to the records. Oh, there we go. Okay, it's all good. Flashbanged by the flash. Yeah, everybody just instantly, in the matter of a millisecond, got 4 seconds better at the map. But here we are. Yes, I was going to say we're not quite that close between the two standings at the moment here, but I feel like Sprout should be one of the teams that's better prepared for this one compared to other teams that alternate attacks have played against. Just as I say that, Scrappy slams into a wall. Dexter loses half a second as well. Scandir, though, there you go. Okay, so look, there's the thing, right? Sprout may make mistakes, but also alternate attacks not infallible.
Yeah, but only one of them has made that mistake, and I do want to keep an eye on that section of the map where we saw Scrappy go in. Dexter takes the most risky line through there possible. He bounces his way over the snowy edge, but has managed to stay alive for the moment. Is trailing Scandir by a couple of tenths. Wosile is all the way out to a 2-second lead and will head towards the identity with alternate attack sitting in ace position. 12-0 yesterday, looking to set up the beginning of a 12-0 here again, but Scandir is not risking it. Dexter is! No! Dexter has flown too close to the sun, and the sun is what I've decided I am going to call those poles because they're yellow. It's an ace for alternate attacks. They start off 3-0.
It's heartbreaking, not because not for any biased reasons, literally just because he was so fast. That was insane. Bro took almost no release on that. That would have been so cool if he'd have got that overtake done there, but unfortunately, yeah, you risk that much. It's pretty much 99% likelihood you're slamming into a pole there, but okay, Sprout, you've had your warm-up round, all good. It looks like, at the very least, somewhat confident on that identity, even if it didn't work out that time. It was a matter of millimeters, and at that speed, that's not a lot.
Yeah, this section of the map causes problems for teams that aren't ready for it this time around, though. Dexter and Scrappy do both make it through cleanly. And I do want to highlight one of the things that we've actually seen from alternate attacks. They're really good at this map. I think they probably have released more and more aggressively on the identity than any of their opponents on this. They are willing to let their opponents beat themselves, knowing that alternate attacks are going to be there with consistently fast times in general anyway. And they're willing to let people do what Dexter did in that last round and throw themselves at it headlong in the hopes of getting an overtake happen, and it just doesn't work an awful lot of the time. We'll see if it's true again here. Scandir and Wosile way off in the distance again. You can see it's Scrappy gaining. That is a lot of a release coming through from the players from alternate attacks, but they're far enough ahead that they can afford to do it. And even if Scrappy catches up there, it's maybe a single point that they give away. They're happy to continue to do that and let opponents beat themselves on speed.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's definitely flashes of something good coming out from Sprout here. It's just that alternate attacks are so comfortable on this map. It is unbelievably difficult for Sprout to just cross that line, right? If it takes you 3 rounds to warm up into like a comfortability that alternate attacks have, then the game's already over before you can even get started. So Sprout yet to pick up a point so far. Wosile and Scandic just keeping it clean enough. And that's all that matters right now. And again, it's just little inconsistencies here from Sprout that are giving away those rounds. Dexter down by 2 seconds already on this one. Scrappy struggling to keep up, even not even with a mistake, just down by 4 tenths as it is.
Yeah, just pure pace is costing Scrappy on this round. Will make the speed check cleanly this time around, and so remains close. And Scandir is the player to touch an outside wall. Scrappy into second place. Scandir has lost speed, but is still close enough. He's in fact managing to re-overtake Scrappy with a better exit out of the sausage block and sets up wider for these chicanes and overtakes Scrappy straight through as a result. Much better setup leads to the lead. Scandir now in second place. Scrappy will touch a little bit, forced to go very slowly towards this end, and that is a fantastic time from Wosile up in first place. He was not getting close to that time in the last couple of rounds, but it is a new Challenger League record.
We almost got within a second of the world record there. Almost. A couple of thousandths away from what we'll call it 1 second away now
the fake world record that we had up for Gwen.
Yeah, actually,
the old world record. We're within a second of
well
that.
Within a second of that.
Gwen did improve it. So
yeah, it's kind of it's kind of daunting thinking that old one that was up there. It wasn't like technically like. Obviously, it wasn't the world record, but it was the world record at one point. That was the world record by the end of the All-Stars Championship. So in the last 5 weeks... Oh, no, sorry, there was a gap between that as well. So, what, 7 weeks? TMCL has got now within 1 second of what TMGL players were setting during the All-Stars Championship. So that's a bit of a scary stat, but...
Yeah, there was an interesting analysis recently showing that TMCL times in general across this stage have been a little bit further away from the Grand League times. I think about 10 to 15% bigger in terms of the gaps to the Grand League. And I think part of that may just be a result of the more compressed season, the compressed stage that we've had here in Stage 2. Less time for the Challenger League players to catch up. But Alternate Attacks, they've picked their map. They picked it well all the way back in week 1. And they've been practicing speed for sure when no one else can. No one can come close to matching them on it. 12-0 against BS Plus competition is one thing, and 12-0 against Sprout is something else entirely.
Here's a fun stat. Alternate Attacks now have a 60% ace percentage on speed. Every other team has a 0% ace percentage on speed. They are the only team that have aced speed in TMCL, and they have done it 60% of the rounds that they've played.
That's absurd. That's actually insane. And their point differential, I believe, on the map as well now sits at, what, plus 38 across 4 matches? Just, I mean, that's out of a possible plus 48. If you 12-0'd every single match, you would get to a plus 48. They have only dropped 10 points on this map, essentially.
Yeah. Somebody did just put in chat, are you sure you're streaming this on the right platform? Because it should be 18 plus. Yeah, I do think we may need to switch up platforms here. It is looking a little bit not safe for work at the moment, but either way. Well, I mean, driving at these speeds isn't safe for work at all, so that's fine. But I was about to say that Sprout should be a lot more comfortable here, but how comfortable can you be against a team that just 12-0'd you, even if it is on their map? And well, Dexter manages to get through cleanly, but Scrappy is down by 6 seconds already, and despite Wosal being down a little bit, still just consistent enough to keep up, and Skander is staying ahead of Dexter right now.
Dex has to steer through these final couple of turns before he makes it to the end, and Skander will hold on to that lead. Dexter gets very close to the outside wall, holds on though. Win to the identity, we go cleanly across these pipes just about for Skander at the end. A little bit of a wobble, looked dangerous, and nobody's going to repeat the mistake of Arthanir from yesterday and clip a wheel on that final corner. But once again, Skander got a little bit close to it. Scrappy comes home in 4th place. It's a lead for Alternate Attacks.
Yeah, and that's going to be a little annoying. I mean, there's nothing horrible about it. Obviously, Scrappy made an early mistake, so it's not the end of the world if you lose 1 point from it, but still, it's not a nice thing to happen on your map pick right after getting 12-0'd.
Not absolutely ideal at all. Wosal has fallen back immediately.
Hey, well, that's better.
That's going to make life a lot easier for Sprout in this round. And we'll see Dexter goes high on the outside here. This line worked an awful lot better in earlier weeks, but people have optimized this inside, slightly slower in theory line a lot, and it doesn't seem to gain that much. Skander crashed out. Dexter crashed out on his own line as well. Skander did not crash out. It looked like he had a much worse entry to that than he did. Scrappy gets a big slowdown. That's unfortunate, and Skander is in uncontested 1st place.
Yeah, wow. I mean, that's absolutely wild for the time being. Before, actually, I don't think even now, Alternate Attacks have a better time than a 105.76 here, but they do have the highest ace percentage on this map, even over Sprout. 6 out of 20 rounds instead of Sprout's 9 out of 31. That is a 1% difference between the two teams. Scrappy is so much faster, but he just can't quite catch up whatsoever. It's not a fast round in any way, shape, or form, but it still will result in nothing going wrong for Alternate Attacks, at least obviously losing out on a couple of points that they could have gained, but keeping Sprout at bay is all that really matters right now on their own map pick.
Holding on for the draw, holding on to that lead, and as you say, keeping Sprout at bay. Bay Leafs. Okay, there's a joke in there somewhere. I'm just not smart enough to make it.
Something. Okay. Yeah.
There's something in there. They're useful for cooking and things. And Sprout, they are most definitely not cooking at the moment, as they will look to find their way into this match to get a lead for the first time. A single strong round here, an ace of their own would be big. Dexter continues to go for the risky line, nearly hangs wheel off the outside this time around, looking to not fly out this time. He is going to land a lot further toward the right on that reactor, and that means wheels stick to the ground harder, means that he will manage to stay on the ground and stay in first place for the time being. Goes very wide on that turn, but it sets up for a lot more speed. Scandier slides out, and Sprout, they should have the ace in the bag. Never mind.
Okay. I was gonna say that's why they tell you to.
He fully stopped. Was that internet, or did he just double respawn?
I can't tell. I genuinely could not tell you.
I think that was a double respawn. I'm going to assume it was a double respawn.
Yeah. My joke has been completely ruined by the fact that Scrappy has stopped in midair, you know, Zawarodo style. But Dexter is setting a really good time here, well ahead of Wosar and Scandira. 105.71 is very respectable. But either way, with Scrappy making that mistake there. And that pipe has been kind of a... For Scrappy specifically, I say, more than any other player, although for a lot of players, that pipe has been kind of it comes out of nowhere, I feel like, and either you jump over it or you set up badly for the end of it. It's a difficult one. It's,
I think, a pipe that catches people out, because it's not one of the pipes that you think of. It's kind of really a hard point on this map, but if you get the setup even slightly wrong, it punishes really disproportionately hard. You get absolutely done if you miss the entry to that pipe a little bit, and especially for Scrappy, who I think it's fair to say is a player who kind of relies on intuition a little bit on some of these maps. Is not quite as practiced, it just is skilled enough to still keep up with the pace. A section like that where you're not thinking about the setup when you haven't done it a million times, it's somewhere that is going to punish you maybe a little bit more often than you see it punish other players.
Yeah, I mean, sure, when you see Dexter grinding out these maps, Scrappy is grinding out random maps. So I feel like there's a different kind of skill that goes into that one there. Unlucky Scander, a little bit wide on that one. And now that throws you off for everything here. Well, Dexter is going to be completely thrown off. Scander doing a really good job of staying on there despite being at a lower speed, which changes your trajectory completely. But up at the front, Wosal just managing to miss out on first place by 200. Scrappy stays out ahead this time around. But Sprout unable to close that gap still.
Rough. 2 rounds in a row that have looked like they
My man
should
turned
be.
into a dog.
Woof. Rough. Grr. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, I'll go back to being a cat boy instead. Ooh, and oh, and all that. Way less threatening than dog boys. Sprout have had 2 rounds, Twiggy, where they looked like they should pick up points, where they looked like maybe they should have at least equalized or potentially even picked up the lead in this match, and kind of unforced errors in both occasions have left them in a rough position, and that's another unforced error very early in the map from Dexter. That is kind of the risk he runs every round by going for that outside line.
I never want to hear you say uwu again. That was so uwus and owos. That was horrifying. Either way, Scander and Wosal now on an uncontested lead at the moment, really. 1 second down for Scrappy, almost 2 for Dexter. Just off of 2 wall touches for this one, and it looks like they're just holding hands to the very finish. Alternate attacks. I mean, if you're really going to take a litmus test for alternate attacks this time around, they played against all the teams so far, other than Sprout, and I mean, you can see exactly that. I mean, they had a difficult time. Well, not a difficult time, but there was a real contest last season whenever they played against Sprout. This time around, it doesn't seem like there's a contest whatsoever.
Yeah, and I mean, looking back over the course of the season, alternate attacks have not once even had to go to a map 7.
Sorry. I was just looking at chat. Sorry.
Okay, that's great. Hey, here's their chance to get some points back, Twiggy. Dexter
it is
and
definitely.
Scrappy are in first and second. Dexter touches the wall. He'll make it through.
Man,
Scander is close enough to pull back into third place, and Dexter absolutely doesn't have the speed to go for that outside line, which means that there will not be a chance to regain instantly.
Yeah, it's looking really, really dire for Sprout, and it's really heartbreaking to watch. Honestly, Sprout, going from having only one loss last season to now on track for 3 this season so far. And, well, I mean, you never know what will happen against Easy Dream as well. Easy Dream looked better than they did last season. It's scary, I think. Scary hours for Sprout. Obviously, they've already got 3 wins. It's not like they are at a massive risk of getting down into the bottom 2, but either way, it's still not a great position to be in. And right now, Alternate Attack's looking to still keep him at bay. No, that's not happening. Skandir has flipped himself into a corner, but Wosar has more speed off the exit. Overtakes Scrappy. Sorry, Dexter trailing by 1 second, and suddenly for Skandir, it's looking a little less fortunate. I think he didn't respawn there, did he? So that was that's a wicked point. He kept that flip. He kept that flip. Fair enough.
Very impressive from Skandir, and this is the problem with playing against alternate attacks. They're stifling. On the rounds where one of the alternate attacks players makes a mistake, or even at times 2 of them have made the mistake, Sprout have also found themselves slipping up. And as soon as both Sprout players make a mistake, alternate attacks are robots. They just drive straight to that line. Both of them together. The consistency turns on when the need for pace turns off, and they will lock in that ace and open up a gap very, very quickly. They've opened it up to 9-5 now on map 2 here on Sprout's pick. Really the map that Sprout have gone to consistently the most often. They are the team that seems to favor this map the most, and it is not paying off for them.
Well, they still have a chance now. Alternate Attacks have not hit 10 points. They just need to get 1 ace, and then a win would get them to 10 apiece, or, obviously an ace in their favor would be absolutely lovely as well. Finish things off for them. Dexter screaming out ahead. Skandir down by a full second almost. Scrappy trailing Skandir by 2/10 now. Can he get that overtake done by the end? It's looking unlikely, unless Skandir makes a mistake, but it is Scrappy who makes the mistake. Dexter, no matter how quick that run is, it is over for Sprout on this map. It's a brilliant run. A 105.393 puts him within 2/10 of the world record and sets a new Challenger League record there. Let's hear some ahs in chat. By over a full 10th there, but it's not enough.
It's just the story of Sprout, though, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Records coming through from one of the players as the other player fails the identity and they lose the map.
Wait,
on the same round.
this is bad, because set the Challenger League record in the final round of the last one. Yeah, this first round is going to be a bit dire.
I mean, I don't know if we've seen it in the final round before as well, and maybe it means that the entire next map is just done for. That'd be real bad for Sprout right now, who are looking to make their way back in. But alternate attacks are so good at
this one as well. I mean, Skandir has the Challenger League record on this map. It's
okay. Dexter will send a new one halfway through.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll see. Either way, Scrappy not going for an interesting bumper there. Scrappy seems to be the player most affected by the bumpers at the start. I'm not sure whether that's a lineup that he has or not, but either way, going into first place off of the first couple turns, actually by quite a long way, and Sprout pull out ahead by 1/10.
It does tickle me when you say, Scrappy the player most affected by the bumpers, because I remember, back when they were doing discoveries for these maps, a lot of players were posting their discoveries. Scrappy posted his, and he got to this map and was like, ooh, bumpers. I play a lot of random map challenge, so I know the secret to these, but I'm not going to share it because I don't know if the other, Challenger League, Grand League players do. And here we are towards the end of the stage, and you're right, Scrappy does seem to get disproportionately negatively affected, which is maybe the fact that he is trying things to gain speed that other players aren't.
Oh my god, that's not going to gain any speed for Wosal. Skandir, oh no, what's going on? This is their map pick as well. Sprout are looking on track for a very quick ace, and maybe getting the record at the end of the map is perfect. Maybe that's exactly what you want. It completely resets the bad luck. Brilliant from both players. Almost a 108.9 from both of them. Scrappy manages to get himself into the 108.8, but that's exactly what they needed. An ace in their direction. Their first ace of the whole series so far.
Not just their first ace, their first lead of the series as well. And it's a 3-0. That's a pretty strong lead to start things off with. That will feel good. Maybe shift a bit of momentum back in their favor. We know Sprout definitely a momentum-heavy team. One of only a couple of teams who have pulled off a reverse sweep, and they really did pull that one back. After they started to get a couple of wins under their belt in that match, it started to feel almost inevitable. If they can pull things back here on Airwalk, back on one of their opponent's map picks, this match is most definitely not over yet. Another strong round to really start this momentum flowing would be fantastic for the team in red.
Would indeed. This time around, alternate attacks do have a little bit of a better start as well. Scandir out ahead by over 1/10 from his teammate at this point, and Sprout are right on track with his teammate so far, but they just have to get up there. They take better lines through the dirt, and they close that gap just a little bit. Scandir loses a lot of time there on that tech turn. And Dexter pushing up a little further now. Wosal falls back, but it is really neck and neck going on forward. I don't think Dexter is getting through without touching the pole. Somehow manages to avoid it. Scandir stays in first place for the time being, but it's down to the identity on this one. Dexter loses time before jumping into the first one. Scandir goes over. Scrappy, I think, has missed the bumper entirely. It's an ace back for alternate attacks. It looks like Dexter sniped it. Oh my lord, that was insanely close. 600ths between the two players, but Dexter manages to stop the ace going in alternate attacks' direction.
Wosal is flying towards the line, sipping the victory champagne, planning for the next round as things are tied up, and Dexter just slowly creeps into vision on the left side of the screen and says, nope, not this round. We are not quite going to give this lead back up just yet, as Sprout remain 2 points ahead. That is the kind of strong finish that, honestly, even though it's a lost round, may be worth enough in terms of getting the snipe to just keep the heads high, but Dexter will hang a wheel early in the next round.
Yeah, well, Scandir has also hung a wheel too, so down in the mud with Dexter on that one, although has a little more speed probably coming on through this, may be able to catch up just a little bit of that time, but Dexter only down by a second for the time being. Wosal and Scrappy having that fight up top, but Wosal already pulled up by 2/10 going on forward.
Wosal holding on to first. Scandir a long way down, could catch up to Dexter, and so two battles going on at the moment with Scrappy very close behind Wosal heading into these last bumpers. Wosal cleanly through the middle, Scrappy landing quicker and going to try and carry a little bit more speed into this uphill, around the final turn and into the identity. Having to release anyway, that speed gain doesn't mean all that much. Different line through the end. Scrappy's going to be very far to the left, is going to gain on Wosal, is not quite going to catch. Still a 10th between them at the finish line, but Scrappy did close that gap a little bit.
Yeah, unfortunately Dexter did make a mistake as well, had to respawn it looks like, and Scandir does take third, which does close that gap by 1 point. Now alternate attacks within touching distance of Sprout, just need to get one more win in their favor, and they'll be right on level pegging with them. Scandir very close to the edge there. That was a bit scary.
Yeah, I saw exactly what you saw, which was Scandir coming very close to falling into the gap between those two boosters, but did make it through, and so we have all four players starting off with clean runs on Airwalk, and only a single point to separate the teams, as Sprout managed to hold on to the lead that ace got them, but only just. And based on how previous maps went as well, it does feel, unfortunately, a little bit like we're only kind of one catastrophic round away from Sprout for alternate attacks to just keep it clean, get an ace, and find themselves back with a lead.
Yeah, it does seem that way, and with Scrappy down by half a second, once again, it's looking a little more dire. Dexter pulls up into first position this time. It's the first time they've really had a lead, actually, over the course of this whole map so far. It's, apart from the first round, it's really been alternate attacks in the driver's seat right now. Mostly Wosal. Scandir turns over a little bit too quickly, clips the wall, and now Scrappy's in third position. A lot of speed heading into the identity as well. Maybe able to get an overtake done. Wosal stays in first place this time. Dexter with a lower line will take first. Scrappy can't quite get the overtake done on Wosal, but it was close. That line from Wosal is losing him time in the identity.
Yeah, it's not a huge amount. It's maybe half a tenth, maybe a little bit more than that. But half a tenth can matter. Half a tenth is the gap that Wosal and Scrappy finished with there. And if Scrappy had managed to overtake there, things would look even more dire for alternate attacks. Sprout would be up on 8, alternate attacks would be on 4. As it stands, Sprout have put themselves on track point for the first time in this series.
Yeah, well, this would be an interesting one. Alternate attacks have never lost to this map. 5 times they've played it, 5 times they've won it. They have a plus 25 difference on this one. Sprout, in fact, really middling performance. They have lost as many points as they have won. The one time they picked it, they did win it. Oh dear. Dexter makes a mistake there, and maybe I spoke a little bit too soon. They got to 7 points, but it's not over yet. Alternate attacks are still within 2, and right now they're on track to make it 8.
That particular jump is such a clear example of Dexter's playstyle in that he risks everything. Even at points when maybe you don't really need to risk that hard, making sure that you're a couple of car lengths further left than going for the tightest possible line every single time, trying to get it pixel perfect on every round. Dexter is essentially the only player we've seen hang a wheel on that jump more than once, maybe even once. It's still going to be close to the end. The Wosal missed completely. Scrappy's right behind Scandir at the moment. His game is not going to catch. Wosal is going to be still in front of Dexter. That mistake cost Dexter a little bit too much, and it will be alternate attacks getting 1 point closer. They move to match point themselves. Sprout on 8, alternate attacks on 7.
Oh man, and here it is. This is the fun part, right? Because the only real thing other than a team winning here is alternate attacks getting a round win and evening things up at 9-9 here. Sprout get a win, then they are through on this one. If alternate attacks get an ace, then they're through on it. A draw would be very boring, but it would put us through one more round here.
A draw would start to get us towards overtime territory,
yes.
Even quicker than we're already in. We are essentially going to be in overtime already if alternate attacks win this round, but don't ace it. Because from that point on, a single team win will do it. Dexter, where are you going, brother?
That is not the track. That is not where the track is. Unfortunately, now Scrappy fighting by himself. Sometimes when we see Dexter, go out in the start of the round, Scrappy pulls through completely, gets into first position, calls it a draw, all good. And right now, on pace for that, 1/10 ahead of both alternate attacks players, but that is not a margin that is very safe coming up against these two players, the robots as you called them, at certain times. Now Scandir very close to clipping a wheel on the inside, but gets more speed throughout that upper part. Now Scrappy, can he make his line work on this one? Scandir takes so much speed through, he might just hit a wall. Where's Scrappy got his there? He's only 200ths behind. Oh, that is horrifying, and now it's 9-9 on the scores. It's going to be over unless it's a draw.
Functionally in overtime. Next team to win a round wins this map. If it's alternate attacks, match point it is. And that would be huge. I mean, beating Sprout 4-0 in their final match before playoffs would be, I think, a bit of a statement on how they plan things to go in the Stage 2 playoffs, which is potentially even more dominant than they were in Stage 1. And Stage 1 was pretty dominant by itself.
Yeah, it was dominant until they came up against Sprout, and then it was, there was some real, there was some rivalry going on, but yeah, but this time around it's looking a little different. Maybe not like it's going to be a 4-4, a 4-0, sorry, and Sprout have put up.
Sorry, just Dexter is so much further left on that round. Crashing in that place 2 rounds in a row, he leaves like 3 full car lengths between himself and the wall that time.
Yeah, that's called adaptation. And right now, I mean, they need a little more than adaptation. They are still a 10th each behind the closest alternate attacks player here. Dexter goes a little closer with the tech turn Scandir. That's an unfortunate place to crash out. That's going to lose him a lot of time. Wosal now pushing to keep Sprout at bay. Anybody who wins this round, you get first and third. That is it. You have won the map now, so Wosal needs to stay in first position unless one of these Sprout players misses on the identity. Can an overtake be done? Can Dexter close it out right here, right now? Wosal is lower down! Oh, it's close. It's no cigar, though. We go to 10-10.
Yeah, Wosal just had a slightly flatter line to the finish then. Dexter gets there a little bit quicker, and we're in overtime. It will be recorded as such in the history books. And still, whichever team wins takes this map. Who was it? Dexter?
Oh, wow.
Dexter doesn't make the jump. I was one of the cars in red, and Dexter is now going to be a long way down, relying on Scrappy to do exactly what you were talking about earlier, Twiggy, and pull out a miracle round with his teammate falling behind. Yeah,
and as you said before, I feel like alternate attacks the kind of team here that really aren't going to push at all at this point. They're going to maybe send one player forward to try and overtake Scrappy. Apart from that, just play it safe, make sure you get through this one. Again, Airwalk is one of those ones where it can go so wrong so quickly. And, well, with Scrappy overtaking just a little bit, coming to the rescue for the time being, now they're going to need to push a little further. This is the time where they decide, do we settle for a draw, go to another round, or do we push right now, try and overtake Scrappy, get it done? Do we count on him making a mistake here on the identity? I don't know. Either way, Scrappy out ahead for now. Scandir down by 3/10. No mistakes can be made on this identity by anybody unless you want to lose right now. Scrappy needs to stay in first position. It looks like that's going to happen. Nobody's getting over past him. It's first cleanly. A 108.8 as well. Dexter is close behind, honestly. Considering he made a mistake at the start, not bad whatsoever, but still a draw. Still 11-11.
Yeah, you were asking the question, do alternate attacks kind of risk and send one player forward? And I was thinking, and I'm glad to see that the decision they made was no, not really, because sure, Dexter was behind, but it was only about a second. And if you risk, the odds of making a mistake that lose you more than that second are very, very high. And if you do, you're potentially just handing up the win. That was not the round to risk it on, with Scrappy having the pace, with Dexter close enough behind that a full risk was more likely to hurt than it was to help. This is maybe a round where someone is going to have to risk it a little bit. All 4 players are in the mix, and this could be our decider.
I mean, you saw right there that Scrappy was within a millimeter of hanging a wheel on the inside of that turn. And I think that it just goes to show what's going on. When Scrappy is pushing as hard as his teammate is, that's a sign that Sprout really want to take this map right here, right now. Dexter now just right behind Scandir. It is a matter of thousandths that separate those two. Dexter's on a really awkward line. He still manages to avoid the pole. Scandir stays out ahead for the time being, but it's within a tenth for everybody. Scrappy is in last place. Dexter is trying to take as quick a line as possible into this second bumper, but it looks like it's going to be alternate attacks in first and second. Dexter snipes, but it's not enough. Alternate attacks take the win with a 108.6 as first place. It's not record breaking, but with everybody within 3/10 of each other, that's amazing times from everyone involved.
Lord above, that was close all the way down to the finish line. Dexter, it almost looked like he completely scuffed that second bounce, but in the end it looked like maybe it was working, that he was flat enough and quick enough that he was going to catch, take first place, turn it into a draw. It ended up not being the case. It ends up being that very familiar thing, a map win for alternate attacks. They move to 3-0, and they are on the brink of entering playoffs with a sweep over Sprout.
Well, let's put it this way right now. I'm gonna get some copium going. Sprout are the only team in the Challenger League that have pulled off a reverse sweep.
You say that there was a second reverse sweep last season, wasn't there?
What's that?
I'm pretty sure. Twiggy.
Oh no, the voices.
Twiggy.
Ignore me.
Salty reverse swept Orcs GP NuaLaoch PLAYDAY 7. Twiggy.
Ignore me. Either way, Sprout one of the only teams that have pulled off a reverse sweep. Dexter heard you. Why did you say that?
I didn't say anything.
I
didn't do anything wrong here. It's totally fine.
How can you do this?
Sinus.
I mean, alternate attacks have not played this.
No, exactly. So this is our first chance to look at them, and what better time to do that than on our way into the playoffs, when this is a map that maybe someone will try to force them onto, whoever they end up playing in that upper bracket or in the finals, to make them a little bit uncomfortable. So far, I'll say it, they're not looking uncomfortable. They are looking as comfortable as they do on pretty much every other map in this pack.
I mean, you gotta say they should be looking comfortable if Scandia has the TMCL record whilst having not played the map ever. That is wild. That is absolutely insane. But let's see if they can keep that up. I mean, a 102.588, if I check the times, it's not that far away from the TMCL record, honestly, which currently does actually set at a 102.058 from Workers. So, you know, we're already within half a second of it. But either way, Sprout, this is an interesting pick for me. They have not won this map. You know, they've played it once. They haven't won it, though.
No, it is an interesting pick. It does feel a little bit like one of those kind of Hail Marys where you're like, hey, alternate attacks are really good. Let's just try and unsettle them with a map they haven't played and see if it works, right? Yeah. It's not working. Scrappy is the player who's made a mistake so far. Alternate attacks, once again, find themselves with a lead. The one lead that Sprout managed to pick up in this entire series, the 3-0 that they started off that last map with, lasted up until 9-9, and from there was alternate attacks that closed it out, which to me says that they probably need 2 aces in order to win against alternate attacks.
Yeah, and honestly, I think this was really risky going for this one. Obviously, when you pick something that a team has not played, it's generally a safe bet that they're not going to be very well practiced on it, but I mean, alternate attacks look fine. They look better than most teams we've seen on Sinus so far. There are only a couple of teams that actually look really good on this map, and Sprout were not one of them. Not one of the ones that we were thinking of. Oh my god, Dexter touches, but well, Scandia's fallen off the track completely, so that's fine. Wosal comes in first position. Scrappy, where? Either way, Scandia gets it done. It's fine. Oh, Scrap. Oh,
very wicked. Oh, very wicked.
Hold on.
Hold. He is going to get to the finish.
Hey! Wicked point. Let's go.
That was
still lost the round.
Still lost the round. Alternate attacks improved their lead 2-2 at the moment. 4-2 is the score. Improving 2-2 is what they've done. That's just a lot of numbers. It's the English language doing me in a little bit. Alternate attacks. I said it. I think Sprout need taste them twice on this map, and so far they have not shown themselves to be capable of it. Mistakes from at least one player in both of our previous rounds, nearly one from Scrappy there early, and Dexter, even without a mistake, has already fallen behind.
Yeah, this is really not looking so great. I don't think Sprout were expecting that they would lose their map pick.
Vortex,
that they would lose Vortex. Yeah, I don't think that was the thought process going on here. Yeah, no, obviously, but I think, look, if you're going to pick a map this risky as map 4, that's... Ooh. And yeah, I think you can see exactly how that's coming into fruition right now as a Scrappy.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Like, it is interesting looking at the pick bans, and it is one of the things that we enjoy talking about in this format. And picking this map has kind of like, ooh, this could kind of swing either way. We don't know alternate attacks' form on this, as that's a 102.181 from Skander and Wosal. Turns out they're very good at it. You're right. Yeah. I think Sprout expected to go to at least 5 or 6 maps in this series. They were throwing this in as a maybe in the middle, and it's not working out, and unfortunately they found themselves in this position where they're 3 maps down, and this could be their final.
Yeah, that is the 4th best time out of all players in the Challenger League at the moment.
But maybe they haven't practiced it that much, Twiggy.
But maybe they haven't. Maybe. Who knows? Honestly, it's yeah. The best times, by the way, from Sprout currently sit at 102.357 from Dexter and a 102.631 from Scrappy, which means both players now 2 tenths away, at the very least, 4 tenths away in the case of Scrappy from Skandir's time that he just set last round.
Yeah.
Not looking so great. I think we might see things be over right here, right now, unless something insane happens, which would also obviously be lovely for everybody involved. Let's just see some drama go on. Alternate attacks. Don't sweep them too quickly. I mean, we just got here. What? The stream is not even hit an hour yet.
Just sat down.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Wosal and Skander sit in 1st and 2nd place, looking to finish things off, to finish putting the dirt on top of Sprout's coffin. They will do so with 2,000 separating both players, 2 tenths away from the Challenger League record. Alternate attacks are the undisputed best team in the Challenger League.
Oh. Ouch. Okay.
Not even close to this stage, if we're honest, Twiggy.
We have not even been here for an hour.
Nope.
Including the time that we were waiting to start watching that game. That is... Oh, Skander has been practicing for another tournament as well. Oh, okay. Well, to everybody who was thinking, oh, the other teams, you know, the fall off in performance is obviously just down to them practicing for different tournaments than TMCL. No, you can still just do that.
You can
just be Skander.
Just
forehead.
be Skander or Wosal, who also had a very
Wosal.
strong day, and that is one of the real scary things about this team. Unlike some of the other teams in both Challenger League and Grand League, there is not one solid player and one kind of transcendental player who's really lifting the overall team performance. Both of these players pull their weight. Both of them, at the moment, look to just be a level above the rest of the Challenger League. And that means that taking them down is going to require something very, very special come playoffs. And it's going to need to be from the lower bracket. And alternate attacks, I'm not convinced they're going to drop into that lower finals to give everyone a shot at them there.
Yeah, I don't know. This is going to be a really, really exciting final day. You know, obviously we've got 4 games to watch tomorrow, and it is going to be jam-packed with drama, I think, because we've still got a lot of undecided positions at the very least. You know, nobody other than alternate attacks have actually secured their spot at the moment. Everybody is going to be fighting to stay away from that bottom 2, one of which is already filled by Ascent, obviously. But apart from that, it is going to be a mad scramble for seeding here. Obviously, BS Plus Competition, the only other team that have guaranteed their place in the playoffs, but they have not guaranteed a seed position just yet. They are not guaranteed in 2nd place. This is going to be wild.
Yeah, and Sprout will drop down to 3-3 with a
if Easy Dream
4-0
them
differential. Then Easy Dream still only moved to -7. Easy Dream would still need to... They still do need to win their match against Orcs GP NuaLaoch at the end of... Or, sorry, excuse me, against Domino Sun at the end of the day as well.
Yeah.
But assuming that if Easy Dream can 4-0 Sprout, then any win against Domino Sun is good enough. If they don't 4-0 Sprout but still beat them, then it becomes harder. They need to get a better game differential against Ominosun, potentially even a 4-0, depending on how things shake out. Sprout have left themselves vulnerable, is what it boils down to. They could still drop out of this playoffs race. It's unlikely. It's definitely unlikely, but it's possible. Their destiny is still in their own hands. Up against Easy Dream tomorrow. The day starts off with Exalti taking on Ominosun as Exalti look to complete a massive turnaround from stage 1, potentially still even clinch a spot all the way up in the top 2 at the end of stage 2. They will have Ominosun to kick things off. They will have Orcs GP NuaLaoch in the 3rd match of the day, and of course Easy Dream will play in the other 2 matches against Sprout and Ominosun. Twiggy, it's going to be a great day. Get your antihistamines ready to go. Load up on that allergy medicine. Everyone at home, make sure you are here on time and ready to go. We kick things off at 6 o'clock Central European Summertime. Is that right? That seems right.
That seems right.
That seems right. We'll be here at 6 o'clock Central European Summertime. Be there, be square, or... No, that's it. It's a binary.
It's Pride Month. Be anything. It's fine.
Be anything you want. See you soon.